Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Today it's going to be a match between dronka87 and AlfiO here on Snowbound. I had a request to find maps, well, games that were played on snow maps, but apparently they're very unpopular because it's too bright for the players and spectators, but I found a few on bwreplays.com, which is an excellent resource of Brood War replays. Alright, so left side of the map here, it's an island map as well, is the red Protoss player. It is dronka87. AlfiO asks if this is the map from Nalrod versus Boxer, and Dronka doesn't know. And on the right side, it is the orange Terran player, AlfiO from .ifu. I assume that's his clan tag there. Dronka says first time he's ever played on this map, but he could just be faking. He could just be playing at it and trying to make his opponent think he has no idea what's going on, but this is definitely an island map. Let's take a quick look at it. I figured this would be a twofer, right? People want the snow maps. Look how pretty the snow is. This reminds me of the campaign. There are definitely some maps in the Brood War campaign that take advantage of the snow map because it didn't exist until Brood War, until the expansion. A little bit of history for y'all. But bottom line, it's island. It's a pretty big main, but there's no way out. There are no ramps. There's no nothing. You have to fly. You got expansions up north and down south, and then or actually more expansions in random spots here. A couple of mineral-only expansions here too, but a lot of gas on the map, as it is again an air map here. So an island map, You need a lot of gas for those maps. So who's going to be the one to be the aggressive player, and who's going to turtle up? Or are both players going to be aggressive? I don't know. It'd be kind of boring if both players turtled, wouldn't it? Anyway, Barracks coming up here from AlfiO because, well, what else are you going to do? There's really nothing different here. Same thing with the gateway. Going Forge first doesn't make a lot of sense. You can't cannon rush as Protoss on an island map. And just throwing up cannons to defend this early makes no sense either because the Terran player is not getting over there until he goes. And in order, Barracks, Factory, Starport. It's a while. It is a while before anything can show up. So both players are just going to go ahead and macro a little bit. Maybe get a few extra workers than they normally would. Cybercore coming in for the Protoss player. I just found a game that had some seriously high APMs on the map Snowbound, as that is one of the snow maps according to Liquipedia, and it was. Got a couple others, got a PvP. I have a 2v2 on a snow map people might be interested in, but I figured we'd start off with this one and just get the snow map ball rolling, because yeah, the current map pools, and for the last few years, have featured 0 snow maps at all. So keep that in mind. Anyway, Barracks here, Factory coming up, and blah, 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 blah. Cybernetics core into a Stargate, likely here from dronka87. I assume that's another language. Is it Polish or maybe Eastern European? Dronka sounds like something, maybe a Slavic language. I don't know, man. I don't know. I can make some educated guesses, but otherwise, I got nothing. I got nothing for y'all. Anyway, Singularity Charge coming up. You definitely want to have Dragoon range on a map like this just to help deal with incoming drops. And if you need to do any Dragoon drops yourself. So the Barracks is off. It is off on a journey. Is this a 4-player map? I just realized this very well could be a 4-player map. You think this could count as a main? And this could count as a main too? I mean, based on the other mains, yeah. Size-wise, I think it kind of makes sense. You got all this area over... Yeah, you know what? I bet this is a 4-player map, and that explains the Barracks heading up to the north. Is maybe he's trying to find out if the Protoss player lives up there, and he doesn't, but that's okay. Getting information is good anyway. There's the Starport, just now getting started at about 3.5, 4 minutes. Got ourselves another gateway. Interesting. Not going for the Stargate, but a robotics facility instead. So this feels more like drops. Obviously, a robo facility is going to tell us that. So maybe Reaver drops or Storm drops here against the Terran player. Not something we see a ton of in PvT, but definitely going to be pretty good here on an island-style map. So just making Dragoons and setting them up in different locations around the edges of the base, trying to make sure if a drop does show up, at least he gets some shots off on it before he gets in there and lands. So Barracks says, no Protoss up to the north. That's cool. Let's go ahead and check the left side of the map, and we got a Wraith on the way from AlfiO. So like the Wraith, another Factory coming in because you're playing against a Protoss. Barracks aren't going to help you that much. That's why this Barracks is a scouting Barracks instead of anything else. So he doesn't want to lose it because you need those to make more factories, and he's definitely going to want to make a few more factories here. But so far, it's a 1 base versus a 1 base. There is no natural, so it makes a lot of sense to do it that way. And you're making a shuttle, or man, he wants an observer real fast. That is his really fast observatory at 5 minutes. That thing's starting to warp in. So Wraith heads down to the south, because again, AlfiO has no idea where the Protoss player is yet. He's going to see it in about 2 seconds. But for now, we head to the south, trying to find if there's any Protoss here. Watch out for Dragoons. Be very cautious with it. Scouting around, and no, definitely nobody lives there. That's cool. All right, so Barracks scouts in, sees where Protoss lives. That's good information to have. We got Goliath production on the way, which is going to be a pretty good answer on these island maps too. Goliaths and Dragoons and Hydras, kind of MVPs of these style of maps. At least a few times in my life I've played an island map, they've been pretty good. Is this barracks going to burn down? These Dragoons hit pretty hard and they have range. So they're going to be able to hit a little bit longer than they normally would. Yeah, that's burning down easy. That is sub 200 HP, ladies and gents. That thing's going to burn down before it can get repaired. Unless a dropship can be made real fast and you send an SCV all the way over here and then you fix it. Seems kind of possible. It doesn't seem like AlfiO is interested in doing that, though. That's fine. That is totally fine. So, yeah, snow map. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I'm a little bit blind when it comes to terrain. Like, I'll notice it when the first game loads in, when the game first loads in, but after a few minutes, I'm just focusing on StarCraft, whether I'm casting it or I'm playing it, and the terrain just doesn't apply at all. It's just not part of the game, right? Who cares if it's snow or if it's grass or dirt down here? I guess everybody is building on dirt, generally. Maybe forcing people to build directly on snow is kind of odd. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Hey, look, it is a dropship. But the barracks is still burning down like crazy, so I don't know if it's getting saved. I somehow doubt it is. This observer scouting about, trying to see if there are any other Terran buildings around, and does get a full scout off of the main base. Seeing the tank count, the vulture count, recognizing tank vulture going to be in his future soon. That's why you make those observers. They're good units. Super duper duper good units, and a bit of a Dragoon drop attempt here. So no upgrades other than Singularity Charge. Actually, this isn't much of a drop. This is probably trying to find the barracks and kill it, but that thing is so burning down. Maybe a forward scout to see if he can take a natural base. That might be something he's interested in. And this poor Marine. He knows what's up. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 hits later, the Dragoon is dead. Observer sees, yes, dropships, multiple dropships, a lot of tanks, a lot of vultures. Missile turrets coming up. My future scouting efforts will be a little bit more difficult. Got to be more careful with that. Vulture, nope, shuttle speed, rather, on the way from Dronka. Going to be real nice to be able to zip around with shuttles rather than just kind of plodding through the air. If you can plod through the air, I suppose. Oh, gosh, the Wraith against this. This is such a good play from AlfiO. So the shuttle dies, and the True Dragoons die, and they don't kill anything. That was incredibly cost-efficient for the Terran player. He is in a great spot after that engagement. I mean, that's as cost-efficient as you can get. Didn't lose a single thing, and killed all of the other army, including a shuttle, which is going to be worth its weight in gold in this replay. Anyway, another dropship on the way from AlfiO. And trying to make sure that expanding is really hard for the Protoss player. Liking it, liking this little setup in the north. Meanwhile, there you go. Command center is floating down. I didn't see it for a second, but it is coming down here to try to set up a second base. I don't know if we call it a natural when it's an island map, but sure. Let's call it a natural, shall we? Anyway, Dragoon count super high here for the Protoss. Like, really high. It's pretty much mass Dragoon, which is going to do pretty well against tanks that can't siege up far away, right? All they could do is land in your base, and then they're pretty close to your Dragoons, and then you can murder them at your leisure. Anyway, unloading enough army to defend a little bit here at this natural, and enough SCVs to get a base up and running very quickly. I'm liking this from AlfiO. Throwing up some turrets, getting a refinery, landing the SCV, or landing the command center so the SCVs can go to work. Observers just hanging out, man. Seeing what they can see. Trying to make sure that they are aware of drops before they head out so that Drunken can respond to them properly. Dronka. It's not Drunken. I just heard a Wraith die. I don't know where it was, though. Maybe to the south here. Seems entirely possible. And now, finally, Dronka is doing the same thing. Unloading to the south here to take a base, but it's going to take a while for that Nexus to warp in. And you can float a ready-made command center down here, so Terran has that bit of an advantage here. Here on these bases. Dude, I think these Dragoons can win this fight. As long as they bring detection, which Again, they have a lot of observers out, so it doesn't seem that hard. Ow, big time spider mine hit there, though. Spider mines are the concern, like nothing else much is the concern here. Ow! Taking hits! Ugh. Okay, well the vulture dies too there, so that's fine. Yeah, this Dragoon attack doing some good work. They don't have any attack upgrades, no armor upgrades either. Trying to kill these dropships before they unload. One dropship does go down, but there are 3 tanks unloaded. 4 tanks? 3 tanks. And that's enough to shove the remaining Dragoons back a bit here anyway. Barracks up north. Did he end up repairing that? Oh, did I miss it? I bet he did. I bet a while ago we actually managed to get an SCV up there and repair that barracks. Fantastic play. What a play by him. So a couple SCVs die and maybe a vulture dies, but really not much there goes down for AlfiO. It just does kind of seem like maybe Terran has a bit of an advantage just because you can expand earlier. Turrets are pretty good. Goliaths are kind of gods on this map. Just because Dragoons are nice, but Goliaths have incredible range, and range on an island map is really good. You can get 4 extra hits off on a dropship when it's coming at you. Compared to the Dragoons, you're going to be in a pretty good spot. Anyway, Vulture's not going to win against that Dragoon. Does do full damage versus shields, but then you run out of shields to attack, and it's very, very slow going after that point. Charon boosters on the way from AlfiO. Enjoying that very much. Tank high ground harassment on Dronka's bottom left natural here. Oh, this is so brutal. This is so brutal a setup. Okay, well, these tanks are just going to have a field day with kills here, aren't they? 5 kills, 3 kills. This base is entirely shut down, but the Dragoon army is here. Shuttles trying to unload right on top of this army with the Zealots, and it's working for him. So I think both players are effectively going to lose their naturals. At least the Terran player here is going to lose a lot of SCVs, probably lose the command center too. There's 1 tank defending. That is not enough to defend against this much Protoss army. Trying to body block with the SCVs a little bit. You can pull that off. I don't know. The tanks can't actually reach the Nexus, which is a huge deal in keeping this base alive for Dronka. And then we just unload some Zealots and the Dragoon right on top of these tanks. And then straight up engagement. Don't know. No attack upgrades or armor upgrades for the mech here either. And Dronka is up 90 to 81 supply after completely obliterating this natural base for AlfiO and keeping his alive. That is a nice, nice economic situation to be in. A 1-basing Terran versus a 2-basing Protoss. You don't want to be on the Terran side of that. Take it from me. So hit that like button if you're enjoying this video thus far. I'm having a pretty good time casting it. Island maps are fun and creative. And snow, right? And there's snow. Like, let me know, do you appreciate the snow consistently throughout this replay? Or are you just kind of like, oh, it's fine, but if I never saw another snow map replay, I don't think I'd care all that much. What do you think? Let me know. Again, in the comments, we can talk about it. I do see every comment anybody ever makes on any of my videos, ever. Ever, ever, ever. No matter what video it is. It comes up on a page I have in the YouTube studio. Chronologically. It's pretty easy. Dronka says, when you're ahead, get more ahead. Copyright day 9. Taking a 3rd base here in the middle. It's only minerals, but you're okay with minerals only bases if you're Protoss. You want to make a ton of Zealots anyway. Zealots are going to be pretty fantastic. So 1-basing Terran is in. He needs to expand. So what he has to do is APM is sitting around 200. Dronka's at 250. Players are moving pretty well, I would say. I'm gonna let this Terran soundtrack run for a bit. It's just so good. Every track. And these probes are in trouble. That is a really nice placement by AlfiO. I kind of like it. Spider Mine's getting tossed down. They will not trigger on the probes, but they will trigger on anybody that comes across this way to try to kill this tank. Can the Dragoons hit this tank from this high ground? The answer is no. He tried. He tried his best, but he didn't succeed. And this is really shutting down this natural base quite nicely. Shuttles coming back home. Not even sure where. I guess there was an engagement up north, maybe with some Marines that we missed, but whatever. This is a better engagement anyway. And yeah, this natural base is being completely shut down by AlfiO. He's got his own natural up to the north of his main now, but is this barracks finally going to die? Again, you don't want the barracks to die because you need it to build more factories. And as you keep expanding, you want more factories. So finally, the vultures come down, drop on top of the tank, kill it, kill all of the vultures. Yeah, that's the problem, is that spider mines will trigger on other units, and then this the splash damage rather, the enemy splash damage will kill probes. They just won't trigger them themselves. You got to be careful around spider mines if there are probes in your neighborhood. Observer comes in, sees what's what. That is pretty much the entirety of AlfiO's army down there, though. So heading down that way with a handful of Dragoons is not going to be a massively good prospect. And in fact, it will be a terrible prospecta. Look at me making up languages. Kind of sounds like the French-Spanish combination. Esperanto. Oh, yes, Esperanto. The made-up language is supposed to be very easy to learn. Like, has consistent grammar rules and spelling and stuff, which is awesome. But nobody really speaks it, because it turns out people don't speak a language unless they're taught it to them by their parents or in school when they're young, and Esperanto is kind of one of those things that hasn't been able to figure out how to do that, and as a result, it's not spoken by a ton of people, even though, again, it logically makes sense, but that's not how people learn languages. They don't choose the one that logically makes sense, you know? Maybe one day humanity will get there. AlfiO floating a command center up to the north, trying to take that 12 o'clock in addition to the natural that he has taken already. But I mean, it's 43 to 29 probes. It is crazy ahead for the Protoss player here. And he doesn't even... Oh, he has a Stargate. He has a Stargate. Could be building Arbiters here with an Arbiter Tribunal. Doesn't have one yet. I don't think Terran's doing anything other than pretty much... Yeah, Goliath, Tank, Vulture. A really solid combo if there ever was one. The mine clearing group is going to take this one out of the top left so that Dronka can expand there if he feels like it. Oh, these dropships flew right over this probe in that pylon and past this observer. So I don't know if you have enough to defend against this, Dronka. Oh, here come the shuttles. God, they're so fast, too. Shuttle speed is so good on this map. Look at the response time here. That's super duper good. I don't know about engaging in this location, you guys. You're going to really unload right here? Okay. All right. Crazy amounts of storm getting tossed down on friend and foe alike. And an Archon trying to come in. Can it finish is the question of the day. Spider-Mine's going to say, I don't think so. Also, again, really good against shields. Vultures are, which means not bad against Archons either, but forced to flee as the Archon finishes. Archons don't trigger spider mines because they float, which is the same reason that SCVs and probes and drones don't trigger them either, is because they're hovering. I don't know it's necessarily a floating situation as it is a hovering situation. Dun, 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 dun. All right, Arbiter Tribunal is on the way from Dronka here. It just seems like it'd be really good. Like, they're really good on non-island maps, but being able to drop a giant army on your opponent's face with one recall spell is really nice, I think, in this situation. Now, the trick here is this entire middle area is on one level, so you don't actually have to fly anywhere if you're going from anywhere in the middle to the middle. Dragoons in the mix with their no attack upgrades whatsoever. And +1 attack is done for AlfiO here. So nobody's really interested in crazy amounts of upgrades, but these Dragoons kind of own the middle of the map, which means this left side top base and the bottom right side base kind of belong to dronka87 right now. So he's 3 basing in. AlfiO's managed to sneak a base up to the top here, but it's 130 to 102 total supply. The worker count is way favoring the Protoss player right now. And I think AlfiO needs to, first of all, saturate the top 12 o'clock base as much as he can, and then try to wipe out something of the Protosses if he's going to win this game. It's just kind of getting away from him. at this stage. That was a really nice drop, though. I enjoyed that drop from Dronka very much. It worked out for him. And look, trying to expand to the 6 o'clock too. So again, once ahead, get more ahead. If you're trying to learn Brood War, there is a Let's Learn Brood War playlist from Day 9 TV on YouTube. That is just fantastic. You should go check it out. Like, nothing's really changed for the basics of Brood War since he put those out. So, actually, he did it right after StarCraft Remastered was released in 2017, so it's not like it's a crazy new thing, but... Anyway, that might be it. Like, that attempted drop and this attempted drop not going super mega well. And the fact that it's 130 to 73 supply and the Terran player just can't make any kind of headway here by dropping. There are no huge siege tank lines, right? You can't do it. So maybe, I don't know, maybe these island maps are somewhat balanced in that Terran can get bases faster. Can get bases faster. It's not a guarantee. But Protoss just does better in situations where they can drop. And Terran does poorly in situations where they can't siege up giant tank lines because there's no open fields here. Right? Everything's narrow. Everything's tight. You can't advance a siege tank line at all on this map. So I'm sure AlfiO is feeling a little bit frustrated that he can't do all the Terran things that he wants to do here. But he's still floating about 250 APM. Dronka consistently been sitting around, you know, the same thing. But yeah, Protoss player at a bunch of bases. What is it, 4 bases now? Again, 20 minutes doesn't seem like much, but on this island map where expanding is more difficult than it is on a regular map like, you know, Fighting Spirit or Circuit Breakers, it would make sense that the expansion timings are a little bit weird. Yeah, and shuttle speed is just so good. It is so good. Dropships don't have a speed upgrade because Terran are supposed to be plotting and powerful. They're not supposed to really do crazy amounts of drops. We will see it sometimes if you're playing Bio. Or maybe we'll see a Vulture drop once or twice from a Terran player trying to catch somebody unawares. But for the most part, dropships are not a huge part of the Terran composition. They control the ground, they move slow, they crush everything beneath their feet. But on this map, where mobility is the big deal, and air mobility at that, the shuttles are killing it. And I really don't think AlfiO has the ability to win this game. I mean, I don't watch these in advance. I can tell you that much. This might be pretty good, though. There we go. Mass probe death. Getting that spider mine tossed down. Oh, but the Dragoons murdered that. So that was terrible. Arbiter shows up. Not even sure. Does the Arbiter have recall? Doesn't seem like it does. And I haven't seen it come through the production tab either. Zealots trying to drag spider mines onto the Terran opponent. Some friendly fire would be pretty good. The engagement is working super well for the Protoss player, and that's it. AlfiO recognizes, I lost that base. I am done. And dronka87 is your winner here in 23 minutes and 14 seconds. So, not a ginormous macro battle. Right? Not a huge macro battle. Nobody got up to max supply, really even anywhere close in this game, but it's not because they're not good. I think they were both pretty good players. The APMs were nice. They got up to the technology that they wanted to, right? But at the end of the day, it was just the fast shuttles were a problem. He didn't get +1 attack. I was going to say, the Protoss player did not get upgrades for the vast majority of this game, and eventually he did. Eventually he got there, but, I mean, it wasn't necessarily really a huge part of most of the engagements he had, but great Storm, great Zealots, great Dragoon counts here, just chopping into bases, expanding a bunch himself, defending pretty well. He had great vision everywhere. Look how much red is on the map here. Pretty much his side of the map is entirely covered. There are tiny little areas you could maybe sneak a dropship in and try to make something happen, but again, nowhere the tanks can set up, nowhere the Vultures can really do stuff in mass, throwing spider mines everywhere. Nowhere the Goliaths can just target fire things from a distance. And yeah, I would just overall say that island maps in general in StarCraft Brood War are not super favorable to Terran in the PvT matchup, which is fine. Nobody really plays island maps anyway. It's just more of a for fun thing here. So Dronka wins 103,000 points to 80,000 points for AlfiO. AlfiO produced more units, killed fewer units, and lost more units, which I think is generally what the story is going to be here. And that Dronka doesn't mine as much gas, but did mine more minerals and did spend a bunch more here too. So the macro was good. Having additional bases really helped with that. And, you know, no matter what kind of map it is, generally if you out macro your opponent by out expanding them and out producing them, gonna have a good time. So that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.